Welcome everybody to this introduction intensive lecture series on Python. This course is mainly designed for the University of Groningen Summer School 2023, although it's for anyone who needs to review and learn the fundamental topics on Python. As a first curiosity that we'd like to give you guys is that Python is not named after the snake, but instead is named after Monty Python and his famous flying circus, which was a British comedy of the first 70s. Python is an open software and it is a trademark of the Python Software Foundations. Anyway, I'm Lorenzo Zambelli and I'm a third year bachelor student in applied mathematics. I've been programming for quite a few years now, and in particular in the past 3 years, I've been mainly using Python. In this first lecture, we'll first encounter Python as most used environment. We will see our syllabus for this lecture series. We'll understand what is Python and how to run it, and is most, in my opinion, fundamental environment. Okay.
So, this intensive lecture series is structured in 6 short videos of at most 20 minutes. On the next lecture, we will come to the basic topics on Python. We will then move to program flow control with breaching statement, for loop, and while loops. Then we will study function, module, and libraries. On our second to the lecture, we will cover NumPy, which is the scientific computing libraries. Finally, we will complete this intensive lecture series with plotting some graph in Python. Before to start this lecture, I want to inform you that I've made this lecture available on GitLab. You can find Jupyter's notebooks, summaries of these lectures. I highly recommend you to go have a look at it, because there is also some exercise and examples. Python is an interpreted computer programming language, and you can use it for loading, manipulate data, interact with the user, perform calculation, initiate like drawing a graph, compute using scientific computing, infinite. The list is really long. But what is an interpreted computer programming language? Well, an interpreted computer programming language is where the instructions are not directly executed by the target machine, but are read by some other program, which is usually called the interpreter. Which means the Python interpreters reads a line of code written in your script, they execute the line, and they repeat the process until it finds an error. Why do you want to learn Python? You are wondering probably. Well, with Python you can do game development, user interface or web design, statistical analysis, scientific computer, and so on. The list is huge. Although it's not the only language that has that kind of versatilities. So why do you want to learn it? Well, first of all, Python has the glue language components, which means that it has the ability to act as a glue code that connect different programming components together. In particular, Python, which is a high-level language, closely written to the spoken language, Interact is used as an interface for the low-level language like C and C++. Indeed, most of his library are written in C and C++. Why this factor is so important? Well, because take for example computation problem solving. In computation problem solving, you often keep in mind the performance of the algorithm and their implementations. Low-level language are usually more performance than high-level language. but they require a considered development time. Instead, high-level language are require less development time, but the performer you lost in performance. So Python with this multi-level language enable rapid code development and retain most of the performance of low-level language. Then Python is simple because, as I said, is written closer to the English syntax. Is an open source and is only popularly because it's been since 1991, if I remember correctly, and since then multiple have been published and they still keep developing thanks to the open source format. How does Python works? Well, everything starts with the code files with extensor.py, which we call it script. When you're running the scripts or any command line on a terminals or on a Jupyter's or on other editors, so on, well, you are creating a Python kernels. A kernels is just a copy to the Python programs that runs continues on your computer until you stopped. The copy is usually called the interpreters. As we can see the map, the script you need to run the script on another shells programs, or, which they run on virtual environments, or you run your script on an environment itself. But what are a virtual environments, and a shell programs? Well, first of all, a shell programs is just a program whose job is to take input and decide and execute the required kernel program to the job and show the output. An environment is just a way to interact with the Python kernels. An example environments and shell programs are Python shells, IPython shells, and Jupyter Notebook. We can also have editors and so on, but we will meet them later. And a virtual environment, instead, is just a self-contained directory tree that contains a specific installation of Python or another packages. This is helpful because for different project that you may have, you may need different packages or a specific version of Python. So it's kind of useful to have these kind of divisions. Okay, an example also, we may have interactive environments like Jupyter, which is, as I said before, spiders, or we can have also editors like Visual Studio Code and so on. I will meet them later on. Those programs then speak with the Python kernel, which run first the libraries and then your code, and then you see the output. Okay, let's write our first Python comment. Take the following: print hello world. Well, the print is just a functions. Hello world is our argument of our functions. We need to keep in mind that Python is case sensitive, so print in low capital letters is not the same as capital letter P and low letter print, or everything capital letter. So it's case sensitive. Be careful. Okay, Python shells and IPython consoles. We can look at those as lightweight developer environments. But basically, any other environments and shell programs and interactive environments, so on, they use basically these two main shells programs: Python shells and IPython consoles or Python shells. Okay. To run Python, and to run the Python shell, we first need to run the command Python on our terminals. in other editors or in other environments, you may not need the comments. It may need be directly. You are writing directly on the Python shells. But on the terminal, you need to write the comment Python. So let's look at examples. We write on our Python we want to call Python shells. So let's write Python, the command Python. Look, we can also write Python 3 or Python 2. The 2 and 3 means the versions of the Pythons. Let's write Python hello world. Okay, this is the result. Great. That's perfect. Then, okay, if we look at the descriptions, we can see that the Python that we are running is version 3.10.9. It gives the date that we are running our that was installed, these last versions, and yes, and some other informations. Okay, as we said in examples, we can call the Python shell by using the command Python of our terminals, and then we have the description, and we can directly write in Python. Okay, but if we want to write a script, easy. We just need to use the command Python, name of the file .py, and you should run it not inside the Python shells, but before you call the Python. Look at the example. Python start with was one files with written inside hello world, and we see the result again. That's just perfect. Okay, IPython. IPython is IPython console, sorry, is a better version in some sense of Python shells because it gives you also colors, better error explanation, and is more interactive. To call it through a terminal, we just need to do the same way as for Python shells, which means we need to write IPython, or we can also use IPython 3 or IPython 4 or whatever as for Python. Okay, these shells is used in Spider and in Jupyter. Those two environments, they use the Python console or Python shells. Okay, that's just perfect. They work in the same way. Again, if we want to run a script, we just need to use the %sign run name of the file .py. Don't remember the extensions. If you do not write extensions, Python will give you an error. Okay, let's be a little more specific. Environments. There are multiple different environments and also editors that are suitable for working with Python for scientific and technical computing, which is the one that you are probably looking for. We see already some low-level environments like Python shells and IPythons. Is not really completely correct to call the environments, but we can call it that way. Okay, as we said before, an environment is a way we are interacting with the Python kernels. Okay, to be more correct, you have local environments in your device. One of the local environments are called virtual environments, which is just, as I said before, a self-contained directory tree that contains all Python installation of a particular version of it, plus additional package that you want. My advice, and it is also good practice in computer science, is to create work-specific environments, virtual environments, sorry, for each project that you're going to do, because for each project you probably need different version of Python or different package, and you don't need everything, and you don't need to run everything. Okay. Besides virtual environment, local environment also you can also have the type conda. Condas environments are just the same as virtual environment. The only difference is that you use a package called conda, and in Python is highly used. Okay. Let's go ahead. Local environments. As I said before, we have two types of local environments. Let's keep for now the conda environment, which you can find all information on python.org or conda inside of conda. Okay, local environment. First, we can use the command python3, then then in the name of the environment we want to create. We are in our terminal. Then we run if we want to run inside this environment, we just need to write search name of the environment bin activate. In this way we are activate the environment, and every other command that we are writing in the terminal at that point we are doing in that specific environments. Jupyter Notebook. Well, Jupyter Notebooks are an interactive environment and is a way to format text, Python code, and HTML styles, and LaTeX also, and any other data, basically. It's kind of nice because you can write tutorials, lecture notes, and so on. And for explanation wise, and also for collaborations, are a really useful environment. To launch it, there are multiple ways to do it. One of which is to run on your terminal the command Jupyter Notebook. Then you launch the notebook kernels. You're going to have a web application open with the local address 8888, and from that you can find any information you have on your computer. Let's see an example. Okay, let's write Jupyter Notebook. As I said before, you run everything local. Okay, we are going to the localhost. I have all my folders that are in my computer. I can create a new Python, but I do not like that. I usually use the editor Visual Studio Code, which I prefer. And see, here is an example of how Jupyter Notebooks looks like. Perfect, I would say. Another environment, user environment, is Spider. Spider is a free open source scientific environment written specifically for Python, and it's designed for scientists, engineers, and data analysts. Is a great tool for developing libraries and modules. Debugging and profile functionality is really helpful. I would highly advise you to install Spider on your computer, because for scientific purpose it's just perfect. Spider is an integrated development environment which, as you can see the definition in python.org, is just an environment where you have additional user interface to the shell programs, Python shells or IPython shells. Spider, as I said before, use IPython shells to run the codes. Let's look an example. I'm going to open Spider. There you go. Yes, it looked like this. It seemed just perfect. Yep, you can run hello world because I was printed hello world. You can also write directly on the console over there. You can see the object, and you can also write in the terminal next to the consoles. You can see also all the variables and so on. So you can see all the variable over here when you write a variable, and then it's just perfect. Okay, I will say thank you for watching these first lectures. I hope to see you next time. These are some of the resources that I use. I mainly advise you to look at python.org, and in particular to look at any library.org website in case you have specific library needs. Okay, see ya.